A student becomes obsessed with her new teacher, whom she tries to seduce in order to fulfill her fantasies. In doing so, she ends up hurting a group of people. Today, I will summarize a movie called Cruel Obsession. The movie starts by showing us a teacher named Chris and his daughter Riley, who have just moved to a new town. It is the man's first day of work, as well as his daughter's first day of class in a new school. At school, we meet a photographer named Keela, who, upon seeing the new teacher, begins to take some photos of him. A girl named Trisha approaches, and upon seeing Chris, also shows her interest in him, mentioning that the new teacher is very handsome and that she will try to conquer him. Minutes later, we see the teacher teaching his first class when he notices Trisha using her phone. He takes it out of her hands, as it is obvious the girl did this to get the teacher's attention. Trisha takes advantage of that moment to compliment the teacher in front of his classmates. Chris, as a good teacher, mentions to his students that in addition to being their teacher, he also wants to be their friend, and that he will be available to listen to them. Keela falls in love with the man at first sight, and we see how she gets a little jealous when she notices that Trisha continues to flirt with him. Minutes later, Keela approaches Riley, where she begins to help her with some drawings, since she wants to make a friend of hers, since she has found out that she is the daughter of the new teacher. Later, when the teacher was about to leave with his daughter, we see that Keela has become obsessed with the man, as she takes countless photos of him. Once at home, Chris tells his daughter how her first day of class went. The girl responds that she made a new friend who showed more interest when she found out that she was the daughter of the new teacher. On the other hand, we see Keela arrive home, where she sees that her mother has a new dress and asks her if she will go out. The lady answers that she met a man in the market and will go out with him to get to know each other better. At night, while Keela is in her room, she begins to imagine that she is having a romantic moment with her new teacher. She is obviously excited about Chris. The next morning, before going to class, Keela visits Riley, where she takes advantage of being alone for a moment to enter Chris's room and smell the man's bed. Later at school, Trisha continues flirting with her new teacher. The man, in a few words, tells her that he makes it more than clear that he is not interested in being with his students. Minutes later, while Riley is alone, Trisha approaches her, where she mentions that she should not approach Keela, and also invites her out. We see that Keela has heard all of this, which then Trisha walks away and approaches her, somewhat angry, telling her that she shouldn't talk to Trisha since she is very dangerous and is obsessed with her father because a year ago she had a relationship with another teacher and it didn't go well. While they were at home, the girls talk on the phone, where, upon finding out that Riley will have a birthday very soon, Keela recommends that she have a party at her house, and that just by mentioning that all the boys will have alcohol. Riley responds that her father still won't let her drink. Then she continues asking her some questions about his father, where she finds out that he is dating someone he met at the market. This seems somewhat suspicious to her, and upon noticing that her mother is going out with someone again, she decides to open the door, discovering that her mother is dating her new friend, the teacher. This makes Keela a little jealous, and to prevent her mother from going out with him, she ends up wetting Chris's clothes, mentioning that they should have the date at home. As the couple is somewhat in love, they end up having dinner at the house in the company of Keela, who tries to ruin the night. Later, while Keela is in her room, the couple tries to have an intimate moment, but they are interrupted by Keela as she pretends that someone was spying on her through her window. The man, to protect them, mentions that he will stay with them tonight. The next morning, while the man is using the bathroom, Keela manages to see him without clothes as Chris is going to school. Just as Chris mentions that she can give her a lift, Keela takes advantage of the moment to flirt a little with the man, but is interrupted by Riley. Later, the two friends talk, where Riley mentions to Keela that she was lying, since she was the one who had something with the previous teacher. Minutes later, Keela approaches Trisha, where she threatens her by telling her not to go near Riley at night. We see some slightly naked photos of Keela, which in the morning appear inside her locker. Obviously, it was Keela who put them there to blame someone else. Keela's mother looks very worried about what happened to her daughter, mentioning that she should investigate who published her photos and will get her expelled from school. The mother also tells Keela that she feels very happy with Chris. Keela responds that they are going too fast and she shouldn't get her hopes up. Keela approaches Riley again, where she confesses that she was the student who was with the teacher last year, since this teacher excited her about the photos that were filmed. She had taken them for him, but someone stole her cell phone and made them public when she left class. Chris decides to take Keela home, which she takes the opportunity to continue building trust with the man who says goodbye to her, mentioning having dinner with her mother. Upon entering her house, we see that Keela is completely obsessed with Chris, as she has a huge collection of photos of him. Hours later at night, while Chris is in the bathroom at Keela's house, the man leaves his phone on the table. Upon hearing a message arrive, Keela recommends that her mother read it. Although the lady at first does not want to do so, she ends up checking it, where she finds a message sent by Trisha. The woman reproaches Chris for this, who defends himself by mentioning that he has no relationship with his students, but she does not listen to him and ends the short relationship. Keela approaches Chris and enters his truck, where she begins to seduce him. The man tries to avoid her, but she manages to kiss him. Upon returning to her room, we see that it was Keela who sent those messages, and in order not to leave evidence, she breaks the phone. The next morning, while the man is giving his class, a group of police go after Trisha. Later, they find out that they had found Keela's phone in her locker, and that she was the one who published Trisha's photos. Because of this, Trisha was expelled from school. We see that it is Riley's birthday. She goes to congratulate her, and as a gift, she gives her a decanter full of alcohol, mentioning her birthday, and that she can celebrate by getting a little drunk. When she realizes that Chris is in her room, she quickly approaches him and tries to seduce the man. Although he tries to reject her, she cannot resist, and they are about to engage in something intimate when they are interrupted by Riley, who, upon seeing this, becomes very angry and tries to get away from him. When Riley tries to explain what was happening to her, she discovers that Chris has been drinking alcohol. She returns to the room and tells him that Riley has been drinking for a long time and that she has tried to help her, but she does not listen. She then continues to seduce the man, who rejects her in an attempt to find her daughter when she is left alone at home. We see how she tears up a photo of Riley, mentioning that she will not interrupt her relationship with Chris. The next morning, Keela's mother receives a message from Riley where she mentions that she has to tell her something. On the other hand, Chris tries to explain to his daughter what just happened, but she does not listen to him and continues to ignore him. Later in class, Keela takes advantage of being alone with the teacher to continue bothering him. At that moment, they are surprised by her mother and Riley because the girl had told her everything. Keela's mother ends up slapping Chris, mentioning that she shouldn't have messed with her teacher, just like she did last year. However, the girl responds that she is jealous, and that since she is already 18 years old, she can do whatever she wants. At night, Keela contacts Trisha, telling her that she wants to see her. Trisha approaches Keela, asking her why she wants to see her. Keela, in front of her, begins to hit herself to the point of breaking the fingers of one hand. Chris and Riley, seeing this situation, approach her and begin to pretend, mentioning that Trisha was the one who hit her. Because of this, Trisha is arrested, and Keela is sent to the hospital. Later, Riley and her father come to the hospital to visit Keela. Keela takes advantage of the moment to apologize for what she did. She also asks him for help to take the school yearbook photos, as her injury will not allow her to do so. She also mentions that she wants to say goodbye to Chris. Although the man does not want to talk to her, she decides to do it only once. The girl shows him that she is completely excited about him, telling him that soon the man will be able to be happy together. She answers that she will never be able to see him again since she is leaving the city, and tonight she will return to school to pick up all her things and leave town. When the man leaves the room, we see how the girl looks at the small knife, suggesting that she plans to do something bad. Hours later, we see Chris return to school. Inside, we see Riley reviewing the photos that Chris had taken. He sends a message to his daughter where he mentions that he has just arrived at school and that they should meet in the classroom. On the other hand, we see Kyla's mother enter the room where she discovers that her daughter has left. We see Riley again at school, who receives the message from her father, but at that same moment, she is attacked by Keela, who ends up knocking her out. Keela approaches him and threatens to take his life if he doesn't fulfill her fantasies. When he tries to stop her, she causes him to fall to the floor and be completely knocked out. Riley, very injured, tries to ask for help until she meets the school janitor, but Keela appears from behind her and takes her life with the knife. Then she tries to take Riley's life, who tries to escape from her by hiding in a room at the school. Keela manages to find her, and a fight begins between them, where luckily Riley manages to defeat her, leaving her knocked out. Minutes later, we see the police arrive at the scene. Riley is taken in an ambulance, as is Keela, who is arrested. At the end of the film, we see Riley getting ready to go to her first day of college, and her father prepares to attend his new job. Thanks for watching this recap. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to comment below and tell me what movie you want me to recap next.